time to start school. It's time to start school!
That's right. It's almost time to start our school year for homeschooling. We have some excited children and some not excited children.
No one's excited. I'm kind of except for her. We're getting supplies.
So we're organizing our supplies first, and then I'm going to show you how I organize the curriculum and just give you an idea about how we homeschool a large family where everyone's in different grades. This year we'll have what are you, Mikey?
I'm going to be a 5th grader.
And JJ will start kindergarten, and Annie will be in 1st grade, and then technically Isla's in preschool, but I don't really do a whole lot of organized preschool, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. First thing we're doing is we're organizing our supplies to see what we need to buy, and then I will show you how we organize curriculum for a large family. That's a question I get a lot about how we make sure everyone gets their schooling done when there's so many people to pay attention to, and so I'll kind of explain how we do all that. And the key really for me is being very organized and also making sure I separate some things that are meant for independent work and some things that need assistance, and then there's some things that we do together as a family, and that's how we kind of cohesively get everything done in our school day. So come join us for the day. This part's always a bit of a circus. We just dumped out all of our supplies. We have these bins from Target, which have been great for organizing supplies. We're going to go through and see what we need for next year, sharpen up our pencils. The little kids are playing with their kitchen. I keep probably 7 or 8 bins of different types of activities in the basement. I pull up one every day when we're doing school, so it's a different activity each day, so they're always excited to do it, and it keeps little people busy while I'm working with big people on their schools so that we aren't interrupted all the time. Once we get everything organized, I'm able to make a list and we know exactly what we're needing to buy. Okay, welcome back a couple days later here. Got Ivy with me, and what I did, I went through and made a draft copy of the curriculum I want for each kid, and I'll talk to you about that later. But then I also just went through just the basic supplies that we need to start school for the first month or so. And it's a real short list, actually. We already have a lot of things, and I try not to pick curriculums that make you buy a lot of stuff, and I'll talk about that in a minute too. But we're going to go down to the dollar store, see if we can get all this for under $10, which should be pretty simple. And then we'll come back and we'll take a look at the curriculum as well. Then we are at the Dollar Tree, which is the most wonderful place to get any homeschool supplies that you need because it's so cheap. We need pens and scissors. Those things seem to disappear faster than hair ties at our house. I don't know where they all go, but somebody's got a collection of scissors somewhere in the house. We get home, I put everything away, and then that's pretty much ready. The bins above, the boxes above, are also from Target, and we use those to organize each child's different set of school books, so all the school stuff is in one place in the kitchen, keeps the mess from spreading out, keeps everybody's stuff organized but accessible. Okay, so let's talk curriculum. So when I plan out the school year, what I typically do is I just do, I guess what you consider a bare bones. And then we kind of fill in from there depending on what the kids are really showing interest in when we really get into school. I used to buy curriculum for everything just at the beginning of the year. And I felt like I wasted a lot of money doing that because the kids would find some sort of history or some sort of sciencey thing that they were really into and wanted just to learn everything about, really motivated to learn on their own. And then the curriculum I bought would kind of go by the wayside and we wouldn't use it as much. So what I do is I usually just make a list of ideas. So we have 4 children that need to be doing school this year. We have a 5th grader, we have a 3rd grader, we have a 1st grader who has some special learning circumstances I'll talk about when I talk about our stuff, and we also have a kindergartner. Now in Missouri, you don't have to legally track anything for your children in school until they are 7. Our kindergartner just turned 5, so I won't be tracking her things, but she is really into learning. She's already reading, and so we're gonna get her some schoolwork to do because she's motivated to learn, right? So let's talk about what I don't do. So I do not do what they call gather round curriculums. I do not teach everybody at the same time. Works for some families. I feel like it doesn't work well for me. What I feel like a lot of times happens is the older kids get their learning time a little bit gypped because the little kids need a lot of attention, and it's more difficult to help those older kids really get full depth of learning because you're working so much with the younger kids. So that's not true for all families. It kind of goes both with your personality as a teacher and also your children's personalities. So what I do is I pair up my oldest 2, and now the middle 2 will be paired up for some things, and some things they do on their own. So let's start with kindergartner. So let's start at at the beginning. First, we do have a preschool age child. She is 3.5. I do not buy anything for preschool. I have found that you absolutely can, but it usually ends up being a waste of money. They learn so much just from doing life with you. I have lots of just little hands-on games, magnet letters. I have puzzles that are like addition, where you connect the pieces for the right answer. So there's lots of ways for her to be learning just, you know, her numbers and her letters, which she already basically knows, just playing games and doing life with us. So I do not buy a preschool curriculum. If we're doing school at the table, if she's really interested in doing something, I usually just make a photocopy of one of the kindergarten worksheets somebody else is working on and just let her doodle on that. I don't buy anything special. So when I start buying stuff, it's kindergarten. Now I will tell you we're on a very tight budget, and something that I do to help make the budget go farther is I do not feel pressured to buy everything at the beginning of the year. So our school year starts July 1st. And we actually do school in July because it's too hot to play outside most of the day in Missouri. So we're going to do full school July and August, and then we will do kind of half-season school, which means book work only maybe an hour a day in September. And this lets us get all of our hours in by the end of the year, but it lets the kids have a little bit more time to play outside in the fall when the weather's nice, because we hit the books hard in the summer when everybody else, you know, is sweating it out on summer break. We're working so that we can enjoy the nice weather later. So what I don't do though is feel pressured to buy everything first, and I'll show you the things that I'll wait on. So I'm going to buy some stuff now. There's some things I've already purchased, and there's some things that I'm going to buy in like September to kind of spread the costs out. Sometimes, especially when you have a lot of kids, feeling like you have to buy everything at once for your homeschool family, it becomes a huge price tag. So we kind of spread it out over several months to help make it go a little better. So for kindergarten, I'm only going to buy 4 things. And I keep a real simple list, but I just write what I'm going to buy, and then I write how much it costs. That way, I just know what my budget is, and I know how much I need to spend. Some things I buy brand new, and some things I buy on eBay, and I'll kind of let you know what I do for each of those. But for kindergarten, I've used this for 3 children now. I use the Relaxed Homeschool kindergarten set. So this is just the first couple of months. It's a huge number of pages. I have it printed and bound in sets by the Homeschool printing company, which I'll link below. They have by far the most affordable printing. Printing stuff on your own is a rip-off. Ink must be the most expensive liquid on earth. I print as little as possible at home, and I print everything through the Homeschool printing company. They do a wonderful job. They bind, they give it a hard front cover, so it's really durable. I only have really good things to say. So this is the Relaxed Homeschool. It is a digital curriculum that I purchased probably 4 or 5 years ago now, and I use for all my kindergartners. It's wonderful. It is very basic. We've already started this, as you can see. There's some coloring activities, numbers and letters. They have some just social sciences, you know, community helpers and things like that. Kind of covers all of your basics. We'll do 4 or 5 pages a day. Annie and JJ will do this together. So my cost for this year is just the printing cost, which I've already done. I think maybe it was $10 for both of them together, and it's multiple books in this set. So not expensive at all. You do obviously have to buy it the first time. When I bought it, it was $50. I think it's probably gone up since then, but I will link this below. I highly recommend this for kindergarten. It really gives them everything they need to get started on their reading and writing journeys, and it makes it fun. There's cutting and pasting. There's just a wide variety of activities, and it's basically zero prep for mom, which is great because my older kids have prep stuff, so it's nice that at least with the kindergarten stuff, we can just sit down and go. Also for JJ, she is really interested in math, so I'm actually going to start her in a math curriculum. I do not usually do that for kindergartners because I feel like usually it's a waste of money, because the full kindergarten curriculum covers basic adding and just number writings and things like that, so I don't usually feel the need to do anything else, but she really wants to learn, and so we're going to encourage her to learn. All of my kids use Matthew C, which I just like because it's just basic. I feel like the foundations are really strong. The kids get a lot of repetition if they need it, and if they don't need the repetition, we can skip ahead, which is great. Comes with a DVD, which helps me as a teacher. If there's a concept that I can't remember how to do, especially for the older kids, I can watch the teacher and then be more prepared to teach my kids or kind of give me a review. So she's going to start in their green book, which is the alpha, which is adding and subtracting, but we're going to buy that for her. That is more expensive. That's going to be $48 because the workbooks are huge. Can't really reuse them kid to kid. I guess you could if you like ripped them apart and put them all in page protectors and had them use dry erase markers, but there's a certain point at which it's not worth your time and effort to do all of that, and I just buy new math workbooks for each kid each year, and then I hang on to the teacher manual and stuff to reuse. JJ will also use something called Easy Peasy, which I will link below. Easy Peasy is a totally free homeschooling K to high school, apparently, curriculum. I feel like Easy Peasy itself has some holes in it, as in I don't feel like you can get 100% quality education just from that source, but it is a great supplemental source. It's downloadable workbooks. There's some online portions that you do on the computer. It really covers all of your subjects, but I feel like it's not super thorough on all the subjects. So we're going to use their writing workbook. I don't have it, again, it'll be printed and bound by the Homeschool printing company for me. This was Ivy's from last year for 2nd grade. So this is their writing notebook. Not tons of pages, but they learn different concepts. So we'll be printing off the kindergarten one for JJ to give her some extra practice. And she'll also start piano lessons this year with me. I used to be a music teacher, so I teach my kids piano. And so she'll start her piano lessons. So I'll buy her set of piano books so that she can write in them and have her own. I think you can pass piano books down from child to child, but once it gets several children down, they get pretty written on or torn up, and also it's special for each child to be able to put their own sticker on the page and be like, I earned that, so I do spend the money on that. So JJ altogether is going to cost us about $90 for the year, and the majority of that money is the one math curriculum, which is more expensive. Annie will be doing a lot of the same things as JJ. So Annie is going to technically be a 1st grader this year, but as I said, she has some special learning circumstances. She actually goes to the public school for 4 hours a week, and she gets physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, and reading teacher specialist time. So she gets an hour of each. And that works out really well for us because she needs extra one-on-one help, and she really needs to work with specialists for those things because she does have significant neurological issues related to her diagnosis. So we find that works really well for her. The school bus actually comes and gets her and brings her to school for her school time and then brings her home. It's great, so it doesn't interrupt my other kids' day. And a lot of homeschoolers get really weird about trying to do anything with the public school, but I would say our experience has been wonderful. Nobody's ever tried to threaten my ability to homeschool her, and I work really well with the special education teacher. They're very good at communicating what's going on with her, and so we know what to work on at home to reinforce what she's working on with like the reading specialist at school. So for her, she's going to join JJ, and it'll be good for her, and I think that'll really help set a strong foundation for her reading and writing skills because we're still working on our pre-reading skills. Also for her, I'd like to get a lot of these dollar store. So go to your dollar store. They have great reading and writing practice books for children who need extra repetition. So for her, it's just all about repeat. Making new memories, new connections is difficult for her. It just takes a lot more repetition than your neurotypical child. She's going to get there, but anything I can pick up that's cheap that gives us extra practice on letter recognition, letter writing, and reading, I grab. So your dollar store is a great resource for those supplementary items. For her, she will also be doing math with Matthew C, and she'll be doing the Alpha book with JJ as well, so the green book. So they'll be in the same book together, so we'll do the lessons together. So far for her, the only thing that I need to purchase is that math book, which is about $50 new. And again, I guess I could photocopy every single page in that book from JJ's page, but I would rather just support the curriculum, and also, like I said, home printer ink is incredibly expensive. So I think we'd still probably come out about even. The last thing for her is we need to find a different reading curriculum. So all of my other children, I have used All About Reading when they do reading, and I don't think I have that here at the table with me today, but I'll link it below. It is a great curriculum. It has activities. It has great fun stories to read. We've enjoyed it, and it's worked well for 3 children so far. JJ's actually already used it because she was interested in learning to read last year in preschool, so we did it, and it worked great for her. It does not work well for Annie because of her learning differences. It's too much information at one time, and it moves too quickly. She needs a lot more repetition. So after a lot of research, I decided to try a curriculum called Happy Cheetah, which Sounds like a funny name for a reading curriculum, but it's for reading and writing for children who are either dyslexic or neurodivergent. It is very short lessons with a lot of repetition, and it does the reading and the writing at the same time to really help reinforce. Unfortunately, it is extremely expensive. It is $400. And so that we are not going to purchase until September, so we have some time to save up a little bit of money. But I'll link that one below if you're teaching a neurodivergent student and you're struggling with reading. It came highly recommended from a few moms in my special needs community who kind of understand the issues that we deal with. And so it just looks like a really good curriculum, and I think it's going to encourage her to still be excited about learning and not get discouraged that things are hard because the lessons are so short. Annie doesn't do piano lessons right now. We might start them in the future, but since she only has functional use of one hand, piano is a little bit of a challenge, and also notes are a very abstract concept, which is also a challenge. And so I think I will teach her an instrument, but I think we'll probably wait a few years and really just focus on reading and writing this year. She loves to sing, so we do sing along. She can sing along while her sisters play the piano. That makes her very happy. So we'll continue to do those things, but we're not going to do a focused music lesson this year because I think that would just be very frustrating for her. All right, on to Ivy now. We have a 3rd grader, and so for her, we are gonna use this. I got this for free and I don't remember where I got it, but since I have it, we're gonna use it. So this is a 3rd grade reading curriculum. It has writing, it has like clothes activities, it has lots of reading, math, it's just got everything in it. We'll use this as a supplemental item to just kind of fill in holes and give extra practice with reading and writing. She will also use Matthew C. She is in Gamma, which is what Micah did last year, so she'll be doing multiplication and a little bit of fractions and things like that. And so for her, I already have everything again except that workbook, which is in the $40 or $50 range. And then I created my own reading curriculum for her. It's got a whole bunch of books that she's supposed to read, and it goes through set times and genres. And so as she goes through the reading and the guided reading activities that I created for her, we will cover history as we read different historical times and do activities. So I'm not buying a separate history curriculum. Saves us a lot of money. It took me a lot of time to create this reading curriculum. It's actually for her and for Micah. They're reading different books because they're different ages, but on same topics, so that we can combine and then do a kind of a history lesson or a social studies lesson, depending on what the subjects of the books are at that time. For my older children, we use this daily assignment log, which I also created and that will print off. What I do is I just write, this is from last year, but I write the school day number. I don't go with dates because sometimes we do school on Saturday, or sometimes we were supposed to do school on Thursday, but somebody got sick, so it became Sunday. So I just number, so I never get frustrated by us getting off date. And then I write anything that we did that day for school. So on this day, the only thing we did was a sewing lesson. This must have been a Saturday, but that way I can have their core activities, their non-core, and then how many hours they spent on both both types of school. And because for the state of Missouri, you just have to have 600 core and 400 non-core hours for your school year, and that helps me track it. And so for this year, I have ordered new ones from the Homeschool printing company. Just comes with a cover that they can decorate, so they make it their own, and it's just got tons and tons of copies of those assignment pages that I fill in as we go along. And the last thing, she will do a science curriculum with Micah. I'm trying this new curriculum here. I have struggled to find a science curriculum that I really like. My kids, especially Ivy, love science. And I feel like a lot of the faith-based science curriculums are really fluffy. They don't go into detail. They also take an incredible amount of prep work from me, and they also need items that I have a hard time finding out here in the middle of nowhere. And so then, I need to order something from Amazon, but it takes, 7-10 days for it actually to arrive from Amazon. So it kind of gets in this cycle. If I am not far enough ahead, we don't have everything we need for science. It also, just the prep time, just haven't found something I liked. I've tried 3 different curriculums over 4 years. And the best one so far has been Apologia, but that one I found that the science experiments are like hidden inside the book, and there have been several times where I'm looking ahead at what we're going to learn and what experiments are coming up, and I have missed one or two on a page, and then we go to actually do the lesson. I'm like, oh, I didn't see that that was an experiment hidden in that paragraph, and I don't have the stuff for it. And so I wanted something that is all-inclusive, very little like crazy running around trying to find the most random things for experiments. So I'm going to try the Neo, I think is how you say it. We're going to do a chemistry set, and she and Micah will do it together. It's a bit more expensive, but if it does as advertised, there should not be a lot of having to order and find random things. And so that's $230. And that I will order in the fall as well. So we'll wait to start science until September. All right, and lastly, for my 5th graders, this is going to sound familiar, so I'm going to download for her an easy peasy handwriting. I don't need it for Ivy because she has that 3rd grade random comprehensive book I found, but Micah needs extra practice, so we'll download the 5th grade version of this from that website and get it printed for us. She'll do Matthew C. Delta, which is their yellow book, so same series. I've been very happy with that series, so we'll just continue on. She will do science with Ivy, so that's not a separate purchase. She has her own 5th grade reading list that is paired with a bunch of activities I created, and it'll also pair with her history depending on what subject that they're working on. So the history and the reading, and that is all taken care of. She also will need some piano books, so Ivy's will order her next set of piano books, and then that's pretty much all we need to get started for them. I think if I don't include the special curriculum for Annie, my total cost this year will be about $450 for homeschooling 4 children, which I don't feel like is nearly that bad. When you include Annie's special reading curriculum, suddenly it's almost $900. But I think it is important. Everything in the special needs world, if you have a special needs child, you know, everything is 5 times as expensive and it's hard to access. So we're kind of used to it at this point, and we'll get her what she needs. But hopefully that just gives you some ideas, maybe things you might consider with your family, and maybe some ideas from some ways to get some curriculum without having to, you know, put down a lot of money at one time, both by spreading it out, by saving certain things, using some of these free resources I've linked below, any of those things. I hope that helps you out. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. Obviously, the girls have other activities they do. They do Bible quizzing. Oh, Mr. P just woke up. They do Bible quizzing through church, which they'll have to study and do a lot of reading and writing for at home, which kind of counts towards school and memorization. They have sports activities that they do. They have different hobbies. Mike really likes to sew, and those all go towards our non-core hours. So I don't even plan for non-core. Like, that stuff's kind of already covered. And we do go to homeschool co-op once a week for 20 weeks out of the year, and they take 3 hours worth of academic classes from teachers who aren't me, which I think is, one, good for them to learn how to function in a classroom, and it also helps fill some holes and let them also choose classes of things that interest them and get to work with other students. So I hope that's helpful. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll do my best to answer them.